Welcome to Two Guys in a Podcast. I'm Tom Waite.
And I'm Mike Cardinale.
On today's show, we're going to talk about the hot topic right now that everyone's talking about, apparently, or seemingly, and that's kneeling during the national anthem. We're going to share our thoughts, some of the things we've had, some insights we've talking with other people and just on social media and things.
And remember, we said we weren't going to talk about politics, so this is not going to be about politics.
Yeah. I don't think this is a political issue at all. I think it is a national patriotic issue. I mean, just a national issue.
So stand by it and let's get after it.
Shut up and sit down.
Tom, I want to start out by reading a post from a Facebook friend. Now, I don't really follow or track all the nonsense that goes on in the political world. Quite honestly, I don't listen to news. My buddies are all on my case about it because I don't know current events for the most part. Just what I see on Facebook from the...
Don't know if you can believe me anyway.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I stopped doing that once I came back from deployment. It was all nonsense in 2007.
Yeah.
I just stopped watching. Anyway, I want to read a Facebook post from a friend because I think he summed it up really well.
Is this him?
No, that's me.
Oh. Okay.
But I think he summed it up really well, so I wanted to just read what he wrote. And he said, just thought I'd give my 2 cents on this taking a knee or standing or not standing for the national anthem or not doing what people think you should do. Listen, people, this is the United States of America, the greatest country in the world, and it was built on freedom. Freedom to do what you want to do. If that means you want to sit down during the national anthem, pick your nose, eat a hot dog, reel in a fish, or play with your dog, you should be able to do so without having to explain yourself to anyone. I think you should stand and show respect, but that's my opinion. There's been many times that I have waited to go outside so that I would not be stuck staying at attention when the flag is raised on a Navy base. So when the flag gets raised on a Navy base,
or when it gets lowered,
any base, you stop and salute when you're in uniform.
They play Reveille and
they play taps.
They play songs and everything for the.
So most people stand inside and they don't go outside because they don't want to stand for whatever it is, 30 seconds to 3 minutes to do the thing. So anyway,
you'll see people run the buildings to try to get out of it.
Yeah. So
because they know it's coming.
So anyway, so it says what it boils down to is you choose what you do. It's not up to me, and that's the beautiful thing. I think some people have forgotten that. So I think he summed it up really well. The freedom, we live in the greatest country in the world. Some would argue that point. But what you can't argue is we have freedom to do whatever we want. Right?
Well, so within the rule of law, yes, absolutely.
Within the morality of what is in the U.S. Right?
Certainly in this situation, yeah, absolutely.
So, and we're not going to talk about the political aspect of it, but off camera, we were talking, a little bit about we're not going to go into the political aspects of it.
We're going to try. I mean, hard not to these days, but yeah. The reality of the situation to me is like what you just read is real similar to something I wrote on social media over the weekend or whenever the hell I wrote it. I think it was maybe even Sunday night or Monday night after the firestorm of everybody picking sides and all this stuff. But anyway, the reality of the situation is real similar, right? I get why people are mad. I get why people think it's disrespectful. I personally think you should stand for the national anthem if you're at the event or like when I'm sitting in my living room and the game comes on and they're going to do the national anthem. I'm not going to lie. There have been a few times in my life, as corny as it sounds, that I've stood up, right?
Yeah.
But it's because I'm just wired. But 99% of the time I don't. I sit there and I wait, or I'm flipping, or I'm Googling, or whatever.
Yep.
So to me, that's fine. It's if you're at the event, right? So if you're in the stadium, if you're in the arena, if you're at the baseball field, whatever it is, then and they play the song, the national anthem, at the beginning of the songs for a very specific reason, and that reason is to honor the men and women of the military and our country. That's it. That's why they play it. So take the time to stand up. Look at hockey. What do you see during hockey on NHL level?
I don't really watch.
So if you watch hockey or if you go to a hockey game and say it's the Red Wings playing the Canadiens, some Canadian team, Toronto, right? And it's at home in Detroit. They play the Canadian anthem first to honor that team.
Yep.
And then they play the American national anthem. People stand for both, right? It may be that no one on that team is from Canada. It doesn't matter, right? It's a Canadian team, so they're honoring the Canadian national anthem there. So the point there is, I get why people are upset about it. But very similar to that, I serve the country. You still serve the country. For the very right for people to make their own choice.
Yeah. So the thing about it is,
there's no law, right? There's no law that says you have to stand for the national anthem. Technically, there is a rule in the NFL handbook that says you have to, but whatever. That's their organization. They can do what they want. Reality is, it's not against the law.
right.
It's not even against, like, some moral code, technically.
I mean, the thing about it is that as an individual, I have a certain sense of patriotism and a certain loyalty, for lack of a better term, to my fellow man, to get all kinds of corny. You know, I was having this conversation with a coworker, and they make fun of me at work because I serve the country, and I feel like, you know, they make fun like, oh, you're going on your drill weekend and you're gonna go whatever, and they make a big joke about it. But the bottom line is if this country called me to go to war to defend it,
You're there.
I'm there. So it's a sacrifice for that reason. So, you know, people get pretty emotional about it because you don't stand for the national anthem. Hey, listen, many people in uniform, I believe, would be somewhat okay with it because it's the freedom and the right that we defend for you to be able to do that. Now I think in Kaepernick's, and again, we're not going to get into political, but I think, like you said off camera, he used the wrong method to try to get his message across.
That's exactly right. So that's what I wrote, too, getting back to what I wrote. The message was lost in the method.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because there isn't anyone out there that's going to convince me that kneeling during the national anthem was going to solve racial injustice in this country.
Nope.
No. Nothing good was going to come out of kneeling during the national anthem. You had to have been able to have the foresight to say, I'm going to kneel during the national anthem. Why? Because of racial injustice.
So
if you really think that's going to change the country? Because
it's different than Rosa Parks sitting in the front seat of the bus. It's not
Absolutely.
the same thing. So people, just the small pieces and tidbits that I've been listening to, people are trying to make it sound like what Kaepernick was doing was the same thing as like what Rosa Parks was doing.
Close.
And it's not. It's not even the same.
Not even
thing.
in the same ballpark. You're talking about an athlete that entertains people for a living, whether you want to call it that or not. That's what he's doing, making millions of dollars, taking a knee during the national anthem because he feels there's racial injustice in this country.
So he should go
Apply
out.
that to Rosa Parks.
Yeah.
Not even close to the
not
same.
the same thing.
And nobody out there try to convince us in the comments that is. It's not.
It's not the same.
So the reality is, ask yourself, what would Rosa Parks do? What would Martin Luther King do?
Right.
Or better yet, what did Martin Luther King do? Because that's exactly what he was marching for too. Right. So I agree. I think there are veterans out there that are dead set that you are disrespecting the veterans, you're disrespecting the flag, you're disrespecting our country, you're disrespecting the men and women that come home with the flag draped over their boxes, right? And I get that thought. But if you really want to be honest about this, those same people are just want to be mad about this. Because like you said, the reality, if you really think about it, we all served our country. You and I served our country. Most people, 99.9% of the people in the military serve their country out of a calling, out of a
It's an inner feeling
civil duty to go serve your country.
Yep.
We already talked in a previous show about all the reasons why people join the military and stuff. But in reality, the bottom line is you're there to answer the call when the call comes.
Yep.
Right. So, and for the last 16 years, that call's been coming. All right, so let me jump to this real quick. And I was going to avoid saying this.
Uh-oh.
But
I don't know.
I think we're into this. We're getting going here. I'm going to say two things. First thing, reality is the men and women that have paid the ultimate sacrifice for this country did so we could remain free. And free means a lot of things, and it means that you are free to make your own choices, again, within the rule of law and things. They should have just picked a better method. If they have a message, pick a better method to express that, and we wouldn't even be having this discussion. And then it just totally got hijacked. The whole process got hijacked because of Twitter and all these other comments being made and stuff. And now it's all everybody's talking about, and nobody's talking about the original message. Nobody's talking about the original reason why somebody did this. Right? So it's just ludicrous that we're even doing this. But here's what I wanted to say, and this is personal. I got a nephew that can't stand for the national anthem. He lost his legs in Afghanistan, right? I can promise you, we're at a sporting event and the national anthem comes on. If he has got his prosthetics on or if he's in his chair, he's going to be sitting, if he's in his chair, upright, at attention, honoring the nation. If he's got his prosthetics on, he's going to be standing up.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
If anyone has an excuse not to get up, it's somebody that doesn't have any damn legs. He's going to get up every time. And he's not going to get up because he wants people to feel sorry for him. He's going to get up to respect the fact that he did come home and got to live. And he knows people personally that did not come home alive. They came home in a box. So the reality is there's no reason not to stand. You're not making a message. You're not telecasting a message by kneeling during the national anthem. You're not showing unity by kneeling during the national anthem. You're just not. You're just being stubborn and wanting to make it something it's not. That's my opinion. But I don't agree with what they did. I understand why they did it.
Right.
And I can be offended by it. But who cares if I'm offended by it? It's not my job to go tell them, shame on you, you shouldn't have done that. They get to do what they want. They get to choose it for themselves.
I'll tell you what bothered me, what I heard in the news or on Facebook or whatever, is the guy from, I think it was Pittsburgh, from Pittsburgh Steelers, that went out and honored the national anthem when it played, and then apologized to his teammates for embarrassing them by going out and making them look bad.
Okay, so let me jump in here real quick, because that's the story everyone wants people to believe.
I don't know what the story is. That's
so my boss is a diehard Steeler fan. I mean, he knows everything about the Steelers. He follows them religiously. So he gave me the scoop today, actually, on a ride back from Detroit. That's the perception that happened. That he went out, the rest of the team stayed in the locker room. He went out and stood for the national anthem, hand on heart.
Right. Yeah.
He's an Army Ranger. He's a former Army Ranger.
Yep.
So he was in the Army Rangers, and everyone thought, wow, what a patriotic guy. He came out and did that. Okay? So it looks like that. And then it looked like the coach criticized him, and then he apologized. Right? That's kind of the storyline that's out there.
That's what I heard.
So that's the masses out there. I thought that too until I said that to my boss. So the captains of the team, of which Villanueva, I think his name's Villanueva, or something like that, he was one of the captains.
Right.
The coach was out on the field. He told his players, you're going to stay in the locker room. I got to go out and test headsets and all this other jazz. The coaches were out on the field. At least some of the coaches were out on the field. The team captains were coming out onto the field. And the team captains were going to represent the team on the field standing for the national anthem. The rest of the team was going to stay back in the locker room as to not cause a controversy coming out and kneeling or any of that garbage.
Right.
Right? They didn't want to disrespect the national anthem by coming out there and kneeling. Right? So, as the captains were coming out, equipment was being moved in the tunnel. It blocked. Villanueva came out, I think it's his name. I apologize if that's not his name. He got out, and Ben Roethlisberger and the other guys, they're in the. If you look at the picture with his hand on the heart, you can see Ben Roethlisberger in the background. They got stuck behind this equipment, and then the national anthem started. So he was like, because in his apology, he said, well, I got stuck on the field, right? And people were like, what the hell do you mean you got stuck on the field? That's why. Because he was going to turn around and go back with the rest of the captains because they couldn't make it out, and he couldn't. So at least that's what my boss told me. That's kind of what is being portrayed as the actual story now.
See, but at the same time, to me, if they were going to stay in the locker room because they didn't want to disrespect the national anthem by kneeling, then don't do it.
Correct. Well, but they also wanted to show unity with what was going on. That was the political argument.
Again,
of the unity
to me, the bottom line is...
You can spin it however you want.
Yeah.
My boss could be spinning it. He could have heard something, spinning it from the different... The owner of the Steelers wrote a letter and kind of explained some of this stuff.
Again, the bottom line to all of this, in my opinion, is that it's your freedom. I wouldn't say God-given right, because if you live in another country, that right is not given to you just because you've been born, right?
Correct.
If you believe in God. So
right.
I won't say it's a God-given right. It's a right that you live in America that gives you the freedom to make a choice to stand or not stand for the national anthem. That is the bottom line.
Yes. And to add to that, I 100% agree with that. Choices have consequences. So you make your choice. You're free to make that choice. It has consequences. You may not like the consequences. I hear now that there's people saying, "Holy mackerel!" This pushback is something we did not expect, right? So now some people are like, now there's athletes that are rushing to say, "Wait a minute, I support the veterans. I have charities that support veterans," and because they're just like, this backlash has been crazy. Again, it's hyped up because of the political climate we live in, and it's either you're on this side of the argument or that side of the argument. There is no in between, all that jazz. So your choices have consequences. However, for somebody to say the consequence on this is, boycotting the NFL, not, burning all your jerseys and all this stuff, that's idiotic.
See, I agree with you to a point. At the same time, I don't think because you've been given a talent to play football that you should have any political power at all, right? Whether you play basketball, whether you play baseball, so personally,
you mean using that platform?
Yeah.
So as a human being, as an American, they have every right to be political.
No, what I'm saying
is just not at their place of work.
I don't care what your political viewpoints are. If you get paid $10 million to play football and shut the hell up. And personally, I don't think that those folks should be paid the money that they're paid. And on a different note, if you really want to honor veterans, then donate to those people. You make millions of dollars to play a sport that we pay for. If people stopped supporting basketball, football, baseball, blah blah blah, and started putting their money to veterans, that money, those dollars that they make wouldn't exist. And I think that some of those athletes forget that.
So here's what I would take exception to what you said. And I don't know that you meant it this way, but maybe you did. So because they play NFL, because they're talented enough to play in the NFL and make millions of dollars.
Yep.
I believe what you were saying was, don't use that platform to I'm here to watch football. I'm not here to watch football. And by the way, you preach to me about your political beliefs.
It's the same.
So, well, hang on. So, because you can't tell them to just be quiet and play football, right?
Because they have job.
Yeah, but they have every right to have a political view, just like you do, or I do, or anybody else does. Right?
Yeah, but I don't share that at work.
No, agreed. So that's what I'm saying. So you meant in that arena, on that field, in that stadium, when you're performing, when you're like you and I don't get to go to work and be disruptive and not have any consequences. Right. So you're not saying they should just shut up forever and
I'm
not say a
when
word.
They're performing at their job, they should shut the hell up.
Okay, then yes, we're on the same page. We don't go to sporting. We don't dish out the money. I don't dish out the money to go to a sporting event while I'm at the sporting event to get a political protest. Right. So that I 100% agree.
Just do your job.
But before the game or after the game, like if during the week, and they want to go on Twitter and rant about their political beliefs, I don't care. I don't need to look at it.
I mean, it's the same thing as movie stars. that use
Yeah,
their fame.
same thing with Hollywood,
Fame to do, it's
to take up a cause. They put their face and a name to a cause, but that's it, right?
right.
But here's the flip side of that. There are a lot of athletes, and there's a lot of people in Hollywood that actually put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So there are a lot of players, a lot of athletes and stuff that are doing it. And there's even a whole bunch that don't take cameras with them, that don't tweet it out, that don't want the publicity.
And I'm not criticizing those folks. I would be criticizing the folks that, you make $20 million, and are you out?
Are you trying to do anything?
Actively doing something for
Right.
the program?
Is Colin
that you're
Kaepernick
on?
doing anything about this? Yeah, is he donating money? Is he doing so? Is he going to Chicago and marching in the streets to try to get people to stop killing each other in Chicago?
Probably not.
Right? No. He's using a platform when he had it to kneel down and try to bring light to a situation. Did he bring light to that situation? A little. But the reality is, again, it got hijacked by the method. The message got lost in the method.
Yeah.
I've done this in the past where I have a great message, but because of the method I used to deliver that, nobody cares about my message. They only focus on the method that I used and say, well, that's completely inappropriate, right? So, again, same thing. Well, that was completely inappropriate, kneeling during a national anthem. What are you trying to convey other than screw the country? Because he said, I don't believe in the flag doesn't stand for me, country isn't for me, the national anthem's a racist song, all this crap, right? So you have that right to think that. Absolutely do. There's consequences to you taking that stance publicly in your place of work, and he's out of a job. And is it because he did that? I don't know that he's out of a job 100% because of that, but I guarantee it's a big factor. Because there's teams that probably could use him right now, but they don't want that distraction. They don't want that. They don't want that as part of the team.
Like I said, I think that you got to remember that the players in professional sports are entertainers, and their job is to play the sport. All the other stuff that they do while the game is going on, to me, I stopped watching football, baseball, basketball, all that stuff, because what difference does it make if the 49ers win on Sunday or not?
Well,
What?
yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother debate, right? So
Not
I'm
really.
a fan.
To
I'm
me,
a fan.
it's associated with it.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is I'm a fit there on Sunday and the Lions lose, and I'm like, that just ruined my freaking weekend.
Yeah, like
right?
why? And
But that's
why?
just part of being a fan. That's just the fun or the anguish and stress of being a fan. Maybe a Lions fan, but hey, whatever it is, right? But here's the kicker. Again, I don't know that you and I might not have the same opinion on this. I don't know, because I keep hearing you say something that I'm not. So during the game, right, in your place of business, during the game, play the game. You're there to play the game. You're there to entertain us. Do what you're being paid to do, and do it the best you can. That's the expectation of all the fans, right?
Yep.
But they're still allowed to have an opinion. They're still allowed to express their opinion outside of their place of work.
I'm
right?
okay. Yeah, as a person, as an American, yes. What I'm saying is, it is my freedom, right, to not listen to them and not to support them by
absolutely.
watching or buying anything. And so,
And it's also the people's rights to turn the TV off, to cancel their DirecTV subscription to the NFL ticket. It's absolutely people's right to do that. And ultimately, here's the real irony of this whole situation. Nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to change. All this dust up, all this freak out, all this back and forth and real news, fake news, and all this garbage of politicizing this and all this other garbage, the racial undertones and all this stuff, it ain't going to change a damn thing.
nope.
You know what? I'm tuning in this Sunday to watch the Lions play Minnesota. If they kneel down, all right, they kneel down.
And so, and I think that's
They
where we
better damn
disagree,
win.
Is I don't watch football not because
Yeah, but
of what happened.
are you not watching because of this specific issue?
No, I stopped watching.
Would you stop watching for this specific issue?
No,
Right.
no, because like I said, I over the years have tried to focus on more things that are directly related to
Real life?
to real life. Yeah, so
I agree with that.
because I
100%.
used to get all fired up when the 49ers
Yeah, it's
lost.
hard not
and
to.
then
Yeah,
and I'm
it's
like,
a
you know
fan,
what?
right?
Why,
You're a fan.
Why
are you letting it affect you?
why is it ruining my Sunday?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd want to fight people when I lost a game of basketball.
You know what I mean? It's
Like, I'd be pissed off. We'd play basketball on Sundays up in Peltwater, and we'd play for 3 hours, 4 hours in the heat of the summer. And everyone would be sitting over on a bench in puddles of sweat, and people would be like, oh, I'm done. And I'd be like, you know, baloney, get back out there and play. Why would I do that? It's just the competition, right? People like competition, and I was overboard with the competition. But here's the kicker, when I asked you, would you stop watching because of this situation? And you said no. I mean, probably not because of this specific situation, right? There are people out there that are calling for a boycott on November 12th or whatever and all this garbage. Again, who are you trying to punish? That's not going to punish the players. You're not going to punish the players. You're not even going to if you think the owners are going to all of a sudden demand that all their players do to forego what they see as their freedoms of speech, which, by the way, this isn't speech, this is action, right? The First Amendment doesn't guarantee you the freedom of action. It guarantees you the freedom of speech. People are trying to lump this under their version of speech. No, this is an action, right? It's no different than punching someone in the face. It's an action, right? So, anyway, regardless of that, boycott the NFL, their ratings go down and stuff. Yeah, they'd probably react and change a rule and say you got to stand for a national anthem. They could also say we're not going to play the national anthem anymore. So what did we? There's no hard fast rule that says they have to do things the way they want, that we want them to do it, right? So to me, get over it. Let's engage the people that have a message. If the message is we just want to slap Trump, we just want to prove to Trump that we're united. Okay, great. You're all united. Awesome. What'd you accomplish? Nothing. Okay, what'd Trump accomplish? Nothing. What should have happened was, hey, people that have this message, let's all get together and figure out what we can do about the message. And stop worrying about the method. Right?
Yeah, well, I mean,
I think you should personally stand. If you're at the event and the national anthem comes on, you should stand. I don't care what event. It could be your child's t-ball game. They play the national anthem. You should stand at the national anthem.
To me, it's no different than when they took prayers out of schools and they took the national anthem out of schools. I mean,
the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm sorry, the Pledge of Allegiance.
I went to a school. I went to a local area school, and I hadn't been in a high school in a long time, obviously. And I was there doing a presentation, and the Pledge of Allegiance came on. The morning announcements came on, and you know what they said at the school? They announced over the speakers, we're now going to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Those of you who want to, you may stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Those of you who don't may remain seated.
And see,
and half the class got up and did the.
That's the right way to do it, if you ask me.
But I was just shocked. I was just shocked that there were kids just sitting down like, who gives a crap? I don't care.
Listen, in my opinion, look at my Uncle Johnny. I'm gonna wrap this up by saying, you take a guy like my Uncle Johnny, he's going to stand for the national anthem. He has a different sense of patriotism from serving in World War II. I have a different sense of patriotism for serving in the military for the last 30 years. But the fact of the matter is that some of our younger folks don't have that connection to the military. They don't have people that serve. They haven't heard the stories of the suffering of people. So all that they see and know is what they've seen over the last 10, 15, 20 years, because they don't know the history of this country. They don't really know what sacrifices have been made by people along the way.
Yeah, and so I made a comment this past week that if you haven't served in the military, this is another perfect example of people that haven't served in the military. And this will sound weird. I guess people could get upset about this comment. If you haven't served in the military, you just don't get it. Right? You don't get serving in the military. If you haven't been in the military, you don't understand that. There's even some people that served in the military that don't get it. That's fine. They didn't like the military. They had a bad experience, whatever. The reality is, when you served in the military and you served your country and you were willing to make that call when somebody knocked on the door and said you got to go, I think you naturally think differently about a situation like this.
The thing is, This is
You got a bunch of people
This
that
is
grew
gonna-
up, that have grown up in this catered, entitled environment that don't have any clue what that means.
So here's the deal, though. For me, at the end of the day, it's not even about the flag. You know what? There's
It's a
been
bunch of
plenty of
country.
times that I didn't stand up during national anthem or whatever. Not very many. The bottom line for me, it's not about the flag. You don't go fight and serve for the flag. You go fight and serve for the guys on your left and right, for the people that you care about, so that you know that your kids, that your sister, that your mom, that your dad, that your aunt, your uncle are going to be free. It's not about the flag. So people, please give it up about the flag. It's about the relationships with people. People don't
It's about what it
die
stands
for the
for.
flag. They die for the people that they care about. That's truly what
The flag
being in
is
this country and serving this country is all about.
yeah, and the flag is the symbol of that, right? So to your point, I mean, you can go buy American flags that are made in China, right? Which
Honor
kinda
the people,
ridiculous,
not the
but-
flag. That's my
Yeah, and
point.
well, honor what this flag stands for, right? So the freedom. People that like watch the new documentary that just came out about Vietnam. I watched some of that last night, and you can't help but watch that and go and just try to think to yourself, holy crap, what these people went through in that war. You might get a little better appreciation for the national anthem.
Or you might not.
Yeah, you don't have to, but you might. Try to think about, again, a lot of the people bitching about people kneeling during the national anthem, I just want to impose their view. You need to all think like me, and you need to do what I want and all this. And that's not what our country's about. People that try to convince other people that their opinion is wrong and they're right, that's debate. That's going to happen forever. But the reality is you're free to make your own choices.
And I think
You're free to choose.
I think we should end on that. Because
Yeah.
we've been ranting about this for
Yeah, we could go
a
on
little
forever
bit
on
too
this,
long,
and
and we
it's-
could do this for
yeah.
about 3 more hours.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up with this. Stand for the national anthem?
Yes.
Yes.
I will.
I will too. You're free to make your choice. You're free to leave comments below. You're free to subscribe. Actually, you're not. You have to subscribe. That's you have to do that.
It's your responsibility
We
as
need to
an
start
American.
drumming up some subscriptions here. So even if you don't have an account on YouTube, go make an account on YouTube so you can subscribe to our video. On Facebook, give us a like, give us a shout out. We're gonna have some good discussions coming up. Continue the conversations. This one I hope dies out, to be honest with you. I hope we don't continue this conversation. I hope this conversation switches gears to what are the messages people are saying, and let's address the root cause of the problem instead of creating more drama and more problems. I'm going to stand for the national anthem. Mike's going to stand for the national anthem. Bottom line, you choose what you want to do. Right?
Yep. And on that,
On that,
we're out.
we're out. See you next time. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Tom.
Well, that does it for this week's show. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on Two Guys in a Podcast. Do you recognize anyone in the photo?
This guy's a Facebook friend. I recognize him. He's a little weasel fuck. But
He looks like a weasel fuck.
always watch him. And it makes people watch the video till the end if they think they're going to be on there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I wish I didn't.
I just saw that stupid picture over there. Look at that picture from a million years ago.
This is you?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's what I got.
Is this you?
That's when I got
Look at
promoted
that.
to 3rd class. Holy
Holy
crap.
moly.
I don't know where that came from, but the stash and all.
Yeah, let's keep that handy. I'll pull that out on the show.